Our charity's money disappeared $1 at a time. Everyone missed the pattern, except me. You don't expect to find fraud in a disaster relief charity. That's exactly why it worked. Me, 40M, volunteered as the treasurer for a regional nonprofit that provided emergency supplies after floods, tornadoes, and house fires. Every dollar mattered. People donated because they trusted us to help families during the worst days of their lives. For years, our financial reports looked healthy. Income matched expectations. Programs kept running. Nobody suspected anything was wrong. Then one evening, while preparing our quarterly board report, I noticed something odd. Our administrative expenses were slightly higher than projected. Not by much, just enough that I couldn't explain it. I went back through several months of transactions. Nothing obvious jumped out. No large missing transfers, no suspicious vendors. Everything balanced. Honestly, I almost convinced myself I was chasing a rounding error. Still, something felt off. The board had already scheduled an independent financial audit for the end of the year. I mentioned the unusual trend to the auditors and asked if they'd take a closer look. The real twist came after they analyzed several years of transaction history. One auditor called me and said, "You're not looking for one large theft. You're looking at thousands of tiny ones." Using statistical analysis, they identified an unusual pattern. Small electronic transfers, usually between $1 and $4, had been attached to legitimate vendor payments. Individually, they looked harmless. Together, they added up to tens of thousands of dollars over several years. The payments all flowed into several shell companies that appeared unrelated. Tracing ownership eventually led investigators to one person: our finance director. He'd carefully designed the scheme around human psychology. Nobody questioned a $1 discrepancy. Accounting software rounded many reports. Board members focused on major expenditures. He assumed the tiny amounts would disappear into the background forever. Police obtained search warrants after the audit. Bank records tied the shell companies directly to accounts he controlled. He was arrested and later convicted of multiple fraud-related offenses. The stolen money that investigators recovered was returned to the charity. We used every dollar to expand our emergency housing fund. The case also changed how we handled finances. No single employee could approve payments alone anymore. Automated software now flagged unusual recurring transfer patterns, regardless of dollar amount. At our next annual fundraiser, several donors asked whether the charity could recover from the scandal. I told them something I'd come to believe. Fraud doesn't destroy trust. Ignoring it does. Because the audit caught the scheme, donors actually increased their support the following year. They knew the organization had chosen transparency instead of hiding the problem. Looking back, the finance director thought no one would ever notice a missing dollar. He forgot something important. When people donate to help others, every single dollar matters, even the smallest ones.